And welcome back to this series on end time prophecies. A challenging subject, you will agree, but not a subject that should instill fear in your heart. Because if you are living and leading a spiritual life where you have surrendered your heart to Source, the Supreme Father, Mother God who formed you in your mother's womb, then there should be no fear. And those words come not from me, but they come from all of the world's great masters, spiritual masters. But in the previous video we talked about the Father, Mother God offering you and me a choice, to make one of two choices. The first choice, to surrender our heart to our divine truth and therein reawaken the divine within us and become aware of the presence of God. And when we ask in prayer in that silence, we will be told exactly what is going to be unleashed as part of man's disobedience. And it's all biblically referenced in the book of Revelation, written by the disciple Jesus loved, St. John the Evangelist. I'll talk about that in another video as part of this series, but for now I just want to conclude from the previous video about that choice. For 6,000 years, the majority of mankind, God's children, created out of love and given free will, the majority have turned a deaf ear to their loving Father, Mother God. And that is so challenging, because we came into this life with nothing, we leave it with nothing, but yet society today puts more emphasis on status and success. And a lot of well-meaning spiritual people, they actually do discredit a lot of the original teachings by trying to fast-track. The only simple answer, my dear friends, is the answer which you already have within you. And yet you will be overwhelmed with lots of other people's take on end time prophecies. But all you have to do is to go into silence and honor the teachings of your masters and come into the presence of the Creator. And ask Mother Earth to speak to you. Ask the Divine Spirit of God to speak to you. Those whom God has anointed and appointed to speak about end times are all biblically referenced, as I've said, in the book of Revelation. So how did the world respond to such revelations? In truth, mankind continues to react with scorn, ridicule and apathy, and I'm sure those of you who are watching me and listening to what I'm trying to say to you from my heart, I am not converting you to Catholicism or to monasticism. I've no intentions of becoming a Bible basher. I speak as one who has stumbled and fallen many times, who lived in his ego for too many years to remember. But like the greats, many of the great saints, I had to hit rock bottom, and I had to learn to walk again. And part of that journey has not been easy. It's been quite painful, because most of that journey has been one of fear. And a lot of it has been to do with superstition based on my religion and my upbringing and my formative years as a nursing monk. But hey, thank God I'm on the outside now looking in, and I'm free, and I'm not being disrespectful to my former church whom I love. But when you open your heart to God, you're taken on a simple journey, a journey of trust where there's no fear, only love. And within my heart there is information already encoded in my soul that I brought into this life from my former life, and it's there, but it's a question of making time. You know, a lot of people today won't make time. It's like going into Asda's, the supermarket chain, and they want it all done and dusted for them, ready to put in their mouth. They don't want to prepare a full course meal by having to start at the basics. They want it done for them and pre-packed, just to stick in the microwave, put on a plate and shovel it down. And that's what's happening today with one's relationship with God. A lot of people are not willing to put the time in. They're not willing to be disciplined or committed. And it takes commitment and discipline to understand the end time prophecies. Yes, they do. These prophecies are a gift from God to us, to warn us, to protect us. But you know, there's an old saying, you can bring a horse to the well, but you can't make him drink. And God doesn't force you or I. Far from it. In my heart, I know without a shadow of a doubt that we are entering into a time of tremendous global destruction that will destroy billions and bring mankind to its knees. The recent event in Japan is the beginning. That is the wake-up call from God, so that mankind will begin to listen to God's truth and not all these airy-fairy theories that are going around to frighten people. Yes, the end-time prophecies are scary, but if you're in your heart and living that simple spiritual life, depending on your God to meet your needs, and you're not living in debt, you're not living in fear, and you do unto others what you want done unto you, then there is no fear. You are protected. From the tip of the east in Afghanistan, the fires of God have lit, and nothing now will stop those fires, because God has given mankind 6,000 years. God, the Father, Mother God, has been speaking to all our hearts through all of the world tragedies and events. And for a moment mankind will watch the news and gasp in horror, and then they move on to the next story. Mankind today are more interested in smut and sleaze, sadly. That's why the internet has grown into such a huge corporation for a lot of seedy websites, pedophilia, and just the workings of the Antichrist. I sound like some Bible-bashing pastor. I'm not. But the internet is a positive tool, but it's also a tool that can lead one's heart away from God. In the wrong hands, it can be disastrous. But today, let us recap. The fire of God has been lit in the east, starting in Afghanistan, and it's now making its way right across the Middle East, and it will end in Jerusalem. And as I said in video 1, when Mother Mary and Magdalena guided our hearts on the 7th of February to launch the live stream channel Heart to Soul, was to send love, light and blessing to Jerusalem and the Abrahamic faith. And that's what we've done, and we've persisted to do 3 times a day. The world needs prayer. Jerusalem, the heart chakra of the world, needs prayer. And this time of man's self-rule over the earth is rapidly coming to an end, to be succeeded by the rule of Jesus Christ, the cosmic Christ, Christ consciousness. God's witnesses about mankind stands true. What I share to you is true, not false. Now is the time to repent from selfishness, greed, materialism, hedonism, and the destruction of the earth. The choice is ours to make, and it's given in love with free will. Peace.